Fires Energy. You know we are back, and it's time to talk some smack. We have Miss Eden James. Eden is Paradise. That is IZ. She is a manager. She is an artist.
I've been acting for a while, so I'm getting back into it now that my daughter's off to college.
So she does everything basically. So anything you want to be, she's already been in.
May Devlon, April's Most Able. Glad to have you here. It's good to see you again. I gotta ask you, what were you doing prior to management?
Business management I've been doing for quite some time. I've been doing business management for over 25 years. I went to school for accounting and respiratory therapy. Immediately before I got into the industry, I was just mom, just grinding, managing our family business. One of my girls who was signed to Bobby Valentino's independent record label at the time asked me to manage her. I was like, I can't manage you if I don't know anybody in Houston because I'm from California. I said, let me build my network. And so I did that. I introduced myself to promoters, artists, and I started branding for Armadale Vodka. Shout out to Armadale Vodka for trusting me with your brand and providing me with a platform and opportunities to network with so many great people. And so I ended up just getting pulled into what ended up being publicity and PR because of the relationships that I had. And that's pretty much how it started. I came off as far as artist management with Stunabam family. I've been working with him for quite some time. We've been great friends. He's a mentor to my daughter. I need you to manage me now. And I'm like, cool, because I manage anyways businesses. So management, it's all the same thing. It's just a different product. Stunabam, again, is an amazing character of a person who stands on great values and integrity. One of my companies is called The Starting Lineup, and when I was first branding it, I had me and a few of my girls with me, and I was at work one day on the news, and I seen that she was murdered. So I was doing a benefit concert to help raise money for her kids and for her funeral and her family. And I know that Stunna was one of her favorite artists, so I DM'd him. I was like, hey, I don't know if you're free on this date, but I'm doing a benefit concert for my girl. Told him the story. He's like, well, I don't know her, but whatever you need, I got you. I'm there. He came and performed. I told him that we didn't have a budget, and he's like, I'm not worried about that. Like, I just want to do what I can to help. And that was my first time meeting him. Since then, it just happened to be after I brought Drummer Boy Fresh was here in town for another branding event. Stunna's manager at the time, who was Two Ferris, who's now Megan Thee Stallion's manager, had reached out and wanted me to do some media runs for Paul, Stunna, and another artist on DSD1 at the time. And we ran back into each other, and he's like, it's just crazy how the world brings you full circle around. And every relationship that I've built, I ran into, it just loops back around.
How do you even go about finding your talent, or your talent finding you? How do you decide who you're going to manage and work with?
It's pretty open. Artists ask me all the time, hey, Ms. Eden, I need a manager, I need this, or my friends or people in the network will already say, I know somebody needs management. And I only manage Stunabam and Go DJ Nunu. Y'all saw her at Loudfest this year. And everyone else, I tell, I'm not in management unless I know you, I've been knowing you, we have a personal relationship. It's more of a familiar thing, and I have to know your purpose. A lot of people are out here just trying to grind for the bag, for the dollar, and I'm not out here because I didn't start out grinding for the bag. I started out grinding in this industry to learn, build wisdom and networks and relationships. So my schedule, it took work, to work 2 jobs, have a daughter, take her to soccer practice, cook dinner, and then grind from 11 to 5 a.m. and hit up 5-7 different spots every single day for a year and a half is not easy. And artists will not do that. People won't do that. But I was hungry enough to say, you know what, I need to do this. I need to learn my brand. I need to see what this is like. And that's pretty much how. So if it doesn't come by referral, and I really have to sit and consider you, otherwise, I'm not looking.
A little bit off camera, you mentioned about how there was a point where you were, speaking of grind, you was getting by maybe 1 to 3 hours of sleep a day. Can you talk about that real quick?
The 1 to 3 hours of sleep, I just briefly recapped on that a little bit. I would be in the house at 5:30 and have to be at work at 6:30 in the morning. So that doesn't leave much room for leeway. And literally I would be producing events, getting on my emails while I'm at my regular job. It was just a lot, but it's a sacrifice. It's really, people cannot say, oh, I don't have time for that. Because if you can say I don't have time for that, you really don't want it. It took a toll on my body because I've been on that schedule since I was 14. And I was breaking into the industry before I had my daughter, and modeling and acting, was going to school. The same grind I have here in Texas. I did that in California at a very young age with film models and actors and actresses, directors and things like that. So it just carried over into music and business relationships here in Houston as I got older. And I will say, like, you have to, the whole sleep, don't sleep, no sleep, grind all day, it's great. But now that I'm older, and God will sit you down if you don't sit yourself down and give your time to recoup, your body to recoup and rest and relax and give your inner temple like peace through spirituality or whatever higher power that you believe in. You have to be grounded in that peace versus like a consistent time clock. Like, our bodies are not machines, our minds are not machines. So we have to learn to sit ourselves down. And in the last 3 years, I've pretty much taken a hiatus. Everyone's like, you've been MIA. I'm like, no, not really. I just haven't been out on the forefront. I've really just been doing me, giving myself that rest time.
How do you keep your energy levels high and consistent, well balanced, so that way you can focus on chasing your desires and your aspirations?
I pray a lot. I pray all day long. And He's always been my source of strength, my source of peace, my source of calm. Everybody will walk out on you. You can lose a bag and miss it all the time. But if you have your faith intact, you have faith, love, and just holding on to somebody or something that's greater than you is always what keeps me peaceful. Like, there was a time, like in this 3 years, where I took a break, and I'm like, I'd wake up, wash my face before I got in the shower, and like, I wish I could wake up happy and feel like myself again. And I hadn't felt that in like years, like going through it just because of my health. And I just didn't feel like me. It was like a mental, I was just tired. I was just really drained. I was tired. And so, as y'all can see, I think I was bound. They're like, do you ever get tired? Are you ever not smiling? And it's just the vibe thing. Like, it's just the energy that I'm filled with. I'm filled with the Holy Spirit. And like, it's tattooed on my back, light in the darkness. And I really stand on that. Like, that's really my purpose. My purpose here on earth is to be a light in the dark for people who are in the dark.
One of our designs called the reflective reflective hoodie.
Not just one design, the most popular and very first design that we ever popped out and even dropped. Like, if you ever seen us, from the beginning, grinding, just starting up, man, that tee is what did it. So talk about that tee, man.
So it was a reflective, right? So at nighttime, when you put the lights on it, it will reflect. And the thing we always said was be the light that shines bright within the night.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of, that was the whole point
dope.
of the brand. So like I said, it's just coming full circle right here, speaking to her.
Wow, that's so crazy. That was just like, woo, that was a lot. With me, people are like, I have a very, my family in the Philippines, I have a spiritual obligation that I have. And they're like, how do you expect to do that? And, you're in the clubs, you're turning up, you're doing this, and you're doing that. And I'm like, where am I supposed to be, in the church? Like, people who feel like they already know God, or they've already found whatever truth or reality, they're not, like, people need me out there, And it's not just in faith, it's in life. People lose that will, whether it's to live, to keep going, to keep their grind on, to believe in themselves. There's so many different facets of darkness. It's not just like, oh, she's talking about evil. It's not even just that. It's really just that slump that everybody gets in one way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Whether it's mentally, physically, they just lose hope. And I want to always continuously be a person that inspires them to be their greatest version of them.
What are 3 words of advice that you would give to your 16-year-old self?
Sleep, listen, and never lose faith. I think those would be the 3 that I would tell my 16-year-old self, because I was, the Eden I am today is not the Eden I was at 16.
Do you think your 16-year-old self would have listened to that advice?
The sleep part, definitely not, because like I said, I was grinding, not just in the professional world or entertainment, but I was grinding like in the streets. So my mind was just driven by the bag. Like, I need to make money, I need to get the money, I need to be famous, I need to do all this right now. The listening part, definitely not, because I was very, very advanced, like from 4 years old. So I was an adult at like 11. So there really wasn't much you could tell me. But as far as the patience, that would be another one. Patience. I didn't have any patience, like, or discretion. I said whatever I wanted to say. However it came out, that's how it came out. You couldn't tell me to wait. I'm like, okay, yeah, so hurry up. Like, let's get to it. So those are two other words, patience and discretion. Like, be mindful of, because it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. And you still have to be cognizant of how people receive that. Whether if they're taking it offensively, what they might be going through in a day. Like, there's just so much more thinking, like a more well-rounded thought process than how I was at 16 that I would not have looked at. I'd be like, okay, I don't care. I'm telling you the truth. My thing was like, I'm just being honest. So take it or leave it. If you don't like it, cool. If you love it, great. So I didn't think anything wrong with it then.
You'd like to speak on like any upcoming projects that definitely will inspire the youth? Or?
My company called The Starting Lineup originally was grounded on working with a lot of nonprofit female figures, and it just got brought into entertainment. So I want to bring that back around. Projects that I have coming up is my own YouTube channel, which one is going to be dedicated to entertainment. Focus on building again another team of powerful women, because the starting lineup, the meaning of that is anybody, when you're rocking with me, you're walking with my brand, you're rocking with the best in every avenue. So if I have a DJ, you know you're rocking with the best. You're rocking with the best. That's the starting lineup. If you think about it, that's what the starting lineup is of every sport. They're the best of the best in their respective position. So that's really the concept that comes behind that. I'm getting back into acting, so I'm putting all my tools together. Because at the end of the day, like, I can't tell y'all what to do. Like, you need to get your headshots, you need to do this, you need to do that, and build a foundation. And here I'm just like, oh, let me just do this. Same thing with my YouTube channel. Like, my dad and my family is like, hurry up and put your content out. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not just a regular person. Like, oh, let me just throw it up on there. So I'm really calculated, I think. But I think what I'm going to do with, whether it's my YouTube or my rebranding, is I'm going to take y'all along with me on my journey. So I'll probably drop a video saying, hey guys, I'm dropping this. I'm letting y'all know that y'all are going to start with me from the ground up, because I'm a person that needs to know every single avenue, whether it's the web design or the photos or this and that. So y'all can grow with me at the same time versus giving you a finished product, how I want all my talents that I work with to have a finished product before they come into the game. But 2 movies I did just wrap are called Bayou City Murders. That's by Jonathan Milton and Tamitha Rusk. Shout out to Tamitha for casting me for that role. I didn't have to audition. I don't have my tools, so for them to reach out to me, yeah, I was just really thankful that they reached out to me for that. And same thing with Perk 30. I was referred by my boy Michael Sterling, who is the director of my other movie that dropped called Harvey. They have a movie called Perk 30. You guys, again, it's how you've never seen Miss Eden James before. So I'll just leave y'all with that tidbit. I was challenged in a lot of different ways in my roles, but it made me grow, and I kind of overcame those boundaries. So I'm excited for everything I have for y'all in 2023, because, my mojo is back. So I'm ready.
I always say you got to hustle harder than the person that inspired you.
Oh, for sure.
So who inspired Miss Eden James?
Jesus. And I mean that no cap. I mean that no cap. People are like, so who do you look up to? Who's your role model? And they're like, no, for real though. And I'm like, I'm dead. Really? Like, that's really, and it's not my brother, y'all. I have my brother here doing BTS for me, but we have this playful thing going back and forth. So, yeah, no, it really was Jesus. And people are like, but how can you do that? And you're not holy. I'm like, I'm not Jesus. I said I aspire. He inspired me to be greater, like from the forgiveness to the kindness to just a lot of it. And I do want to emphasize, just because you forgive somebody does not mean you have to. A lot of people are like, well, if you forgive them, why don't you rock with them? Why don't you? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. I can forgive you, but if I feel like there's a conflict of interest or a branding faux pas that's not going to work, like, we gonna leave that right where that's at.
I look at forgiveness in the sense of not wishing ill will towards someone. Meaning, like, you could be done doing business, you could be done associating with them, but you're not wishing evil things on them. To me, that's forgiveness. So, because people, they hold a grudge, that they're deep down wishing something hateful to happen to you. So when you get to the point where you can disassociate yourself from people and not wish them the best, but not wish anything ill towards them, but just don't associate with them no more, to me, that is forgiveness.
And I believe that forgiveness is one of the hardest things to do.
For sure.
Learn to know yourself so that way you can be able to understand others and most likely be able to forgive them. It's a perspective things. Don't let that be a gap. Perspectives is actually one of my songs too, so y'all should definitely go check that out. All platforms, for sure. Definitely a lot of amazing talent on that project. So tell me 3 goals, that you've already accomplished, and then 3 aspirations, because we definitely want to manifest and speak all that good stuff into existence.
One of the things is I've worked with and built a lot of great relationships in my first year and a half, first 6 months really, but first year and a half, to be generous with my time, in the city of Houston and just in general, where people are now in the game, whether they're publicity or management, whatever. They've been in the game 15, 20, 25 years, and probably just now in the last 5 years of their career just started working with people or having relationships with people that I conquered in my first year. It lets me know my hustle and the ability that I'm able to attain people's trust, to be trusted with their brand and their outlook. Another one is I made it to being a mom, and my daughter turns 21 this year. And I had her when I graduated when I was 17. I was pregnant with her my first semester of college, right when I turned 18. So I'm happy that clearly I've done something right. She's prayerful. She's doing her thing. She's off to college. She's independent. She's had a job. So motherhood is definitely another promising accomplishment. Third, this is going to be in both. I think I need to continually filter and cleanse myself spiritually so I can have more peace in my mind and my heart, so I can continue to walk in my purpose that God has destined and ordained me to be, whether it's entertainment or as a mom or, as a spiritual priestess or whatever you want to call it. And I need to work on that. But for me to actually step into that in these last years and actually embrace it is a great accolade. Now, 3 things I want to come into fruition. My acting's finna take off. Like, that's the only thing. I'm holding myself back, and we are our greatest obstacles and roadblocks. You know what I mean? So obviously I need to finish getting my teeth done, got to get all my tools ready, work on my diet, work on my body, because I know once all that's into play, like, that's Kobe. That's, for sure shot every time. Of course you're going to hear no's, but that's right. So it's definitely going to be my acting. I think my YouTube channels on both platforms are going to be extremely successful once I start them and get them edited and get them how I want. So I think 2023, as well as my other business avenues, from real estate businesses, other business investments that are going to be coming. My brother and I are going to be opening up our own car rental business, so be looking out for that as well. We're going to be getting into real estate, so it's really just about bossing up in every avenue, from just myself and my brand to like creating a family empire. It's just a lot of good stuff. So y'all stay tuned, and I'm so excited for what's to come in 2023 and after.
You see, we had another heavy hitter here today, spitting gems, giving us bars. We're going to go ahead and top this podcast off. You already know our slogan. We say, once you get the desire to achieve,
you got to get the energy to receive. And you know how we come at see it through. Never stop planning your next move, and you'll never stop moving.